Good evening, everyone. I think tonight is the second lesson. So next week is the last lesson, and it's still within the Chinese New Year period. So just nice, right outside NDR, there's a stage being set up, and later on there might be some dong dong cheng going on. So if you hear any sound or any background noise or performance, it's just outside ceremony. Can you all hear it now? No.
Yes, but we can hear.
Can hear. Okay. Yeah, so you have to pardon.
Oh, you mean the Dong Dong Chang? Oh, no,
Yeah.
we can't hear.
Okay, can't hear. Okay. Okay. So from our side, we can hear. Those who are with the live audience. So for those who are in the Zoom, probably it's much better. Okay. So anyway, we start with the fourth faculty on concentration, right? So we let Louis do the sharing of the slides. Okay, so yep, I can see the screen. Yes.
Can you see?
Yep, can see. Yep, thank you. Okay, so basically I'm going to share a bit of this concentration, this faculty of concentration. So the term concentration is very wide. So different people have different understanding of concentration. So in the very first lesson of this particular series of these 5 faculties, we already defined concentration as the jhanas and the 4 jhanas. But samadhi or concentration in the wider spectrum can be defined as 4 types of samadhi. In this particular sutta, the Buddha mentioned there are 4 different types. So the first type is basically the jhanas, to have pleasant abiding in the here and now. That means to calm the mind. So that is the first type of samadhi. The second type of samadhi is to develop this attainment of knowledge and vision. We call this higher knowledges. So that is the second type of samadhi. And the third type of samadhi is actually leading to insight. If a person want to, let's say do vipassana, then that's the third kind of samadhi. And the fourth kind of samadhi is if a person is already liberated. So there are total 4 types. Some people may have a misconception that certain types are together. For example, some people think doing jhanas must develop this divine ability. So they mix 1 and 2 together. So some may think jhanas must have insight lah. Together must have insight. So they do 1 and 3. Or some may have 1, 2, and 3. Right? So different people have different understanding. Some people practice number 2 to achieve number 1. But actually there are different types of samadhi. So to achieve number 1, you need to do number 1 course to get the number 1 result. And if you want to do number 2, you have to do number 2 course to get number 2 result, something like that. But with so much misconception going around, I'll be just using the sutta case examples to differentiate what are the different types of samadhis and what are the practices associated with development and achieving that. So we'll just go through this next slide. Luis? Okay. So the first type of samadhi is called the jhana. So I think we covered it in the first lesson. We talk about the different jhanas have different states or different emotional states. It is mainly defined or differentiated by different emotions. So the first jhana, if you look at the table, The first column is the first jhanas. It will have this directed thought, evaluation, joy, pleasure, singleness of mind. Second level will have joy, pleasure, internal clarity, singleness of mind. So the internal clarity is due to the disappearance of this directed thought and evaluation. So the mind supposedly seems quieter. Okay, then the third jhana will have pleasure, equanimity, mindfulness, full awareness, singleness of mind. So the difference is that the third jhana doesn't have this piti, doesn't have this joy. So it has this sukha and equanimity. And the fourth jhana will just have equanimity. So there's no more joy or pleasure. So it will have this neutral kind of feeling, neither pleasure nor pain, purity of mindfulness, and singleness of mind. So note that every level of jhanas have this singleness of mind. So not many suttas will mention singleness of mind in the jhanic formula. Right? Most of the suttas will just mention maybe directed thought, evaluation, joy, pleasure. That's for the first level. They won't mention singleness of mind. Due to the lack of mentioning this singleness of mind, some teachers will just tell you, oh, only the fourth level of concentration have singleness of mind. Then the first three as though don't have singleness of mind. So in actuality, in the suttas, all levels of concentration will have singleness of mind. So again, why due to the so-called lack of clarity or understanding of the jhanas is due to the probably lack of transmission. So nowadays, people approach jhanas in a very academic kind of perspective. So if you want to know the practical perspective, you can look at the previous YouTube sessions, YouTube recording on meditation. So that's probably like the first few lessons of Dhammayut. So you can scroll and search yourself. So anyway, we'll just cover theory for today. Next lesson. Next slide. Okay, so total, some people will classify total there are 8 jhanas. But if you want to be very technical about it, the suttas will only mention 4 jhanas, first 4 jhanas, and the 5th to the 8th, they call it formless concentrations. They don't call it jhanas. But out of simplicity, we'll just name it jhanas. So the sequence will be something like this. First jhana is the bottom, followed by second, third, fourth. The 5th level is called perception of infinite space. The 6th level is called perception of infinite consciousness. The 7th is called the realm of nothingness. And the 8th is called neither perception nor non-perception. So these are the 8 levels. So in the Buddha's time, before he got enlightened, he learned meditation from 2 ascetic teachers, which taught him the 7th and the 8th level, the realm of nothingness and the neither perception or non-perception. And interestingly, in the yogic or the meditation community, nobody knows how to do the 1st to the 4th jhana. So the Buddha was the one that rediscovered how to do the 1st to the 4th jhana right before he got enlightened. So the way he got enlightened is he did the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Then he went on to see his past life. Then he went on to see other people's past life. Then probably he went on to the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And he got enlightened by transcending the 8th level of concentration. So that is based on a few suttas. So you can look at the Dipa Sutta and the Tapusa Sutta, that the Buddha attained enlightenment through going through all the jhanas. So because of this, some people may have a misconception that doing jhanas means must see past life, or doing jhanas can lead you to seeing past lives, or doing jhanas is a must to achieve enlightenment. Right? So I'll just refer to a few suttas to have this clarification. Okay, next slide. Okay, another popular misconception means jhanas equals to no thinking. Some people think jhanas, once you enter samadhi, you enter jhanas means totally blank, right? No thinking. You can't be affected at all. Outside noise disturb you, no feeling. People kuchi you, right? Try to distract you, no feeling, no distraction. Don't need to eat, don't need to sleep, and that kind of stuff. No heart activity, no brain activity. So there, some people have this kind of concept. So actually, no. So jhanas, according to the sutta, the jhanas itself, this particular sutta, Jhana Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha actually mentioned all the jhanas. I'm just going to take one of the levels, the fifth level, which is the realm of this, perception of infinite space. So if a person enters this dimension of infinite space, he regards whatever phenomenon there that are connected with feeling, perception, fabrication, and consciousness as inconstant. So there is a reflection. You need to take note of the cognitive functions as inconstant, stressful, disease, cancer, error, painful, affliction, alien, disintegration, emptiness, not self. So there's a whole list of reflections. Probably you just need to take one and reflect. So there is lots of reflection involved. So it's not like you just enter and then don't think of anything. So there is such a method. So this particular sutta actually combines both jhanas and vipassana. Yeah? So the Buddha's way of teaching jhanas is to combine both jhanas and vipassana. So you need to do reflection. So probably the pre-Buddhist method of entering jhanas is to not think. That means you apply your thought or attention on your meditation theme and hope that everything quietens down. So if you are a very busy person, probably you cannot calm the mind. So those practices that doesn't have this kind of reflections will resort to a bit more extreme means, such as fasting. So you need to fast, do fasting, and make yourself lack of energy, and your fabrications will calm down. So that is the non-insight method, which somehow the Buddha don't really emphasize, don't really promote. So the Buddha promote you need to eat one meal a day, at least for those who practice the ascetic vows. The fasting here I'm referring is to totally no eating. Okay, so that is the jhanas with insight. Okay, next slide. Okay, sorry. So previously, so if jhanas without insight, the Buddha have mentioned before, any practitioner who practices jhanas and if they do not have insight, do not have wisdom, upon death, after passing away, because of that karma they achieve from the jhanas, they will be reborn in the Brahma worlds. The Brahma worlds. But in the Brahma worlds, if they do not continue to upgrade, they just, let's say if they enjoy themselves there, they stagnate there. If they use up all the good karma at the end of the lifespan, they will be reborn to the lower realms, because if you use up all the good karma, probably the bad karma is all that's left. So they will be reborn in the lower realms. So that is for a person who doesn't practice any form of insight. So interestingly, the Buddha made the jhana safe. It combined with insight. You need to reflect on impermanence within the concentration itself, so that they mention the noble disciple of the Buddha. If they do jhanas upon passing away, they go to the Brahma worlds and they will upgrade from there. Either they go higher or they get liberated. So that is the so-called advantages of practicing insight together. Some people want to do separately, that's fine, as long as you do insight meditation. Okay, so the next kind of samadhi is this higher knowledge and vision. So how to practice this particular samadhi? The person or the yogi needs to attend to the perception of light and resolve in the perception of daytime. That means they need to create the image of brightness in the mind. Right? So some ways would be maybe staring at the sun, or some, at least the Hindus who are doing it, they stare at the sun, they have the image of the sun, then they remember the image of the sun there. If the image is gone, then they stare at the sun again, or sometimes stare at the moon, or sometimes they stare at the candle or the flame, and that's how they remember this image. So they have to do it the whole day. Day for him is the same as night. So nighttime also have to visualize brightness. Night is the same as day. By means of an awareness open and unhampered, he develops a brightened mind. So you can find this in the Iddhipada Vibhanga Sutta as well. So that's the analysis of the bases of power. So in the first lesson, we covered the 37 factors of enlightenment, 37 wings of awakening. So one of the column mentions this Iddhipada, the 4 bases of psychic power. So the development of psychic power requires these visualization meditations. So perception of light is one of them. In fact, any kind of visualization meditation. So one of the other visualization meditation mentioned is the impurities of body meditation. So if a person were to visualize the human biology and anatomy, that's also part of the visualization exercises. But they need to do it the whole day to develop this so-called higher knowledge and vision. So some people may think doing jhanas must be able to see light, or doing this practice will lead to jhanas. So I'll just refer to a few suttas that kind of clarify this misconception. Okay, next slide. Okay, so first we are going to cover what are these higher knowledges. So the first higher knowledge is this a bit like telepathy. Sorry, not telepathy, telekinesis. Yeah, like walking on the water, walking through the walls, able to move objects with your mind. Those things you see in the sci-fi or superhero films, right? There's higher powers. Then the second, the divine ear, able to hear long range or hear the unseen beings, different frequencies. So that's the divine ear. And the third one is telepathy, able to read other people's mind. So that's the third one. The fourth one is remember one's past lives. Yeah, so that is the kind of theme which some meditation systems make it like compulsory. It's part of the syllabus. You must remember your past lives. Then the fifth one, divine eye, able to see other beings and probably their past lives also. And the sixth one is unique, extinction of mental intoxicants. So the sixth one is uniquely for enlightened beings. So the sixth higher knowledge is the special one. The first 5 can be achieved by any non-enlightened person. Any, I don't know, deva can be born with these first 5 without meditation. As long as they're born as a deva realm, their genetics or their whatever physiology is able them to access all these abilities. Or some beings are born as demons. So demons also have these 5, right? So a person may not be spiritual, but achieve all these special abilities. So for human case, probably the most documented case are probably some of you may have heard of this Past Life Research Institute by Ian Stevenson, Dr. Ian Stevenson. So he researched on children able to recollect their past lives. And I've watched another documentary about the Cold War between US and Russia in the past. They have this psychic spy program. They call it remote viewing. So the spies don't have to be physically present at the enemy's territory to look at the place. They can just hide in their base, in their camp, and do some visualization exercise and map out where's the target, where's the location, and they can just bomb the place. So so that is higher knowledge and vision. So it doesn't have to be spiritual, doesn't need to be used for good purposes, right? So however, the sixth one is uniquely only for enlightened beings. Okay, next one. Okay, so this meditation that leads to like suspended animation, no breathing, lowering of metabolic rate, no eating, has to do with this kind of visualization meditation. It will lead to suspended animation. So I found one of the clues in this Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So Mahaparinibbana is basically the last days of the Buddha. So before the Buddha passed away, or before the Buddha was invited to pass away, he was hinting to Venerable Ananda. So Venerable Ananda is his attendant. So the Buddha is hinting to Venerable Ananda. Anyone, Ananda, in whom the four bases of power are developed, pursued, given a means of transport, given a grounding, steadied, consolidated, and well undertaken, could, if he wanted, remain for an eon or the remainder of an eon. Right? So interestingly, that means the Buddha said he can actually extend his lifespan, right? Once he's able to get this invitation from Venerable Ananda, because the Buddha has mastered these four bases of psychic power. But unfortunately, Venerable Ananda didn't know the hint, didn't get the hint, or didn't believe in the hint. So the Venerable Ananda didn't invite the Buddha to remain for an eon. So this eon again got different interpretation. It could be eon of the human kind of lifespan, or could be an eon of a Buddha cycle, or eon of this universe cycle. So again, subject to interpretation. Okay, next slide. Okay, so so we've mentioned jhanas, right? Is it equals to psychic power? Yeah. So I'm going to give two case studies. So the first case study is about Venerable Sariputta. Yeah, he's able to enter all the levels of concentration, from the first level of concentration all the way to the 8th level. This neither perception or non-perception, and even transcending to cessation. And you can find this in the Anupada Sutta. So the Buddha was praising Venerable Ananda for this. Venerable Sariputta for this, his concentration. However, Venerable Sariputta doesn't have the divine eye ability, doesn't have psychic ability, and not say worse. Moreover, Venerable Sariputta is the right-hand man of the Buddha, the chief disciple, foremost in wisdom. So Venerable Moggallana and Venerable Sariputta were meditating in a cave. So this case study is in the Junha Sutta. Venerable Moggallana is the left-hand man of the Buddha, foremost in psychic ability. So there's a big contrast between the two. So both also can do jhanas, both reach enlightenment. But what's the main difference? Okay, so according to this story, Venerable Sariputta is sitting at the entrance of the cave meditating, whereas Venerable Moggallana, the one with the psychic power, is sitting inside of the cave, in the depths of the cave, in the darkness, meditating. So according to the story, there are two devas that fly past. Two yakas. Yeah? Two yakas, these are like the demons. And they happen to be just, I would say, naughty. They just feel like whacking the head of Venerable Sariputta. You see, the monk's head are so shiny, I feel like whacking the head. So one of the yakas took his club and hit Venerable Sariputta in the head and escaped, flew off. So what happened was Venerable Moggallana saw what happened and quickly rushed out to ask his friend, Venerable Sariputta, how are you? Are you okay? And Venerable Sariputta replied, I got some headache, don't know what happened. Then Venerable Moggallana asked him, do you see what happened? And Venerable Sariputta said, no, I didn't see what happened. Right, so Venerable Moggallana related to Venerable Sariputta. I told him these two yakas flew past and hit your head. And Venerable Sariputta replied to Venerable Moggallana, how amazing friend Moggallana. How astounding, how great your power and might. Where you saw a yaka, I didn't even see a dust devil. Right, so Venerable Sariputta don't have this ability, to see these unseen kind of realms. So that's the case study. So Venerable Sariputta has the jhanas but no psychic ability. So that's the main difference. So what's the main difference is because of the visualizations involved. And again, there's no guarantee a person may do visualizations but may not be able to have this divine ability as well. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so regarding jhanas and light, so some people may think, doing jhanas may see light. So to be true to the suttas, the jhana formula doesn't include light as the symptoms. So they only mentions the emotions like joy, pleasure, or equanimity. Okay, so anyway, is psychic powers equals to enlightenment? Is it necessary to see your past lives? Is it necessary to have these abilities to fly and so on? So there's another case study which talks about this Susima. So Susima is actually a spy from another religion. So he wanted to know how come this Buddhism is flourishing and what's the secret formula. So he went to ordain right in front of the presence of the Buddha. So the Buddha accepted him. So Susima was so happy, right? So he got ordained. And right after he ordained, he heard a group of monks nearby. And this group of monks declared enlightenment. And they are quite young. So he's very surprised. So he went and approached them and asked them, what is this enlightenment about? And he double confirmed these young monks. Is it true that you claim you have reached enlightenment, right? Is it true, as they say, that you have declared final gnosis in the Blessed One's presence? We discern that birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for the sake of this world. And these enlightened monks say, yes, friend. So this Susima was so happy, so he decided to interview these monks. Do you have the ability? Earlier on we covered the 5 or the 6 types of higher knowledges, right? So he asked the 5 of them. Do you have the ability to fly, able to vanish, walk through the walls and stuff like that? And these monks say, no, we don't have these abilities. Do you have the ability to see your past lives? And these monks say, no, don't have. How about just one life? Also cannot see past life. How about, can you see other beings' past lives? Also cannot. Do you have mind reading abilities? Cannot. Do you have divine ear? No, cannot. Then this Susima is so disappointed. How come these monks say they are enlightened but don't have all this? Well, what's so special? You don't have all this ability, then what's so great about your enlightenment? Right? Then he immediately went to the Buddha and asked the Buddha, your so-called monks declare enlightenment, but don't have all this ability, so what's so special about this enlightenment? So the Buddha aggregates reflect on the 12 links of dependent origination. And once this Susima is able to see the Dhamma or reach enlightenment, the Buddha asked the same things to this Susima. Are you able to see your past lives? And then this Susima is like, hey, cannot see past life. Can you fly? Hey, cannot. Can you read other people's mind? It cannot. Their divine ear, it cannot. Don't have. So this Susima understood already. Then he asked forgiveness from the Buddha, and he continued to remain as a monk. So, so this is an interesting case study that a person, or rather a lot of post-canonical ideology would include, like seeing past life as a necessity for the understanding of dependent origination or the reaching of enlightenment, which is not the case here. Okay, so the next slide. So there's some technical. Okay. So the third kind of mindfulness, the third kind of concentration, we call this mindfulness, more like vipassana. Yeah. So if a person truly practice mindfulness correctly, they are supposed to develop mindfulness and alertness. So how to practice this kind of samadhi? There is a case where feelings are known as they arise and as they persist and as they pass away. Likewise for perceptions and thoughts. So these are the so-called practices to observe impermanence. So we covered it in the previous lesson, in the Dhammanusati. We covered that there's actually a factor of concentration in the 7 factors of awakening in part of the 4 foundation of mindfulness. So the next slide, please. Yeah, so these are the 7 factors of enlightenment. So if you can look at the point number 6, it's called concentration. So this concentration mentioned here is not the jhanic concentration. So this is the insight-related concentration, vipassana kind of samadhi. So requires lots of reflection of impermanence. So interestingly, we've already did a comparison before that on the, I think the Asubha Sutta, where the Buddha was comparing jhana practitioners versus asubha practitioners. Asubha means impurities of the body meditation, right? So somehow impurities of the body meditation may not lead to the jhanas. Yeah? So the visualization meditation, if done in a small scale, small area doesn't lead to the jhanas. So if a person were to visualize parts of the body, different parts of the body, doesn't enter jhanas. However, the Buddha mentioned, whoever practicing the impurities of body meditation is the unpleasant path, the painful path, because you have to look at the disgusting parts of the body. But they are able to reach enlightenment fast or slow depends on their faculties, depends on the strength of their faculties. And vice versa, the Buddha mentioned about the jhana practitioners, those who do the jhanic concentration. If they call it the pleasant path, and if they are able to reach enlightenment, it can be fast or slow. Also very much depends on the strength of the 5 faculties. So because of this, a few kind of case studies, we can kind of pinpoint that this concentration here has nothing to do with the jhanas. It's an insight-related concentration. So as you can see from the order here, the sequence, a person needs to practice from number 1 to number 7. Mindfulness first, investigation on Dhamma, energy, followed by rapture, and tranquility, then concentration. So for this particular process of vipassana, process of insight, a person will experience rapture first before concentration. Whereas a person, if they practice jhanas, will need to enter concentration first to experience the rapture, to experience the joy, the jhanic kind of joy. Whereas this is the insight-related joy, very different process. And interestingly, it doesn't mention sukha. So in these 7 factors of enlightenment, there's no happiness, there's no pleasure. And you have the last factor, which is equanimity. Okay, next slide. Okay, and the fourth is a bit noisy here. So fourth concentration is if a person reach enlightenment. So how to reach enlightenment? If a person were to keep on reflecting, arising and falling with reference to the 5 clinging aggregates. And interestingly, there are 84,000 Dhamma doors which lead to this observing of this arising and passing of the 5 aggregates. So if, let's say, a person is very psychic inclined, they can, if they are really, have some wisdom, they can observe arising and passing and reach enlightenment through that. If a person enters jhanas, they observe arising and passing, they can reach enlightenment from there. If a person doesn't do jhanas, they observe just the impermanence of the parts of the body, they also can reach enlightenment through there. Yeah? So this is the final kind of liberation. So these are the different samadhis. So let's go back to the previous 2 slides. Okay, one more. Okay, so again, I will have to give precaution. I always give precaution because I don't want to be responsible if anybody go crazy. So this method of visualization is not meant for everybody. Not meant for everybody. Of course, during the Buddha's time, there are different cliques. There are different cliques of the Buddha's disciples. So one instance is like when the different chief disciples are doing walking meditation, the Buddha was like introducing the new monks to the different chief disciples. So one of them is Venerable Sariputta. The Buddha introduced him as being foremost in psychic power. Foremost in wisdom. And the next one is Venerable Moggallana, foremost in psychic power, so on and so forth. So different people have different inclinations, different tendencies. Right? So right now, the Buddha is not around to sort of give you instruction to so-called reach your fullest potential. So there might be a chance that if you stumble across a certain kind of practice, which is, let's say, inclined towards psychic power, but your mind or your inclination may not be ready for it. So for example, in the Theravada community, there's lack of mention of purification practices. So some of the meditation communities will ask you to visualize white light. Yeah, visualize white light as part of the meditation. So that is to develop this divine eye so that you can see your past lives. So if a person doesn't have enough good karma, they don't do any kind of purification practice. Like for example, in the Tibetan tradition, they have this confession ritual and purification practices before taking up any kind of initiation or visualization practices. So if let's say a person develop this divine eye, happen to open up this divine eye, and they do not have enough good karma, the things they see, or the beings they see, probably will be negative beings. Yeah, imagine you have lots of bad karma, so dark attracts dark. Yeah, so you'll be attracting evil spirits and demons. So the whole day you'll be seeing a horror movie. So it's not suitable for everybody. Huh? So you get emotional trauma. And you're now having an auction downstairs. So interestingly, personally, I've come across a few local monks. They are the ex-monks. Yeah. So in the background in this picture, you have ex-men. But I know of ex-monks. So these ex-monks are previously monks and they disrobe already. So what happened to them is when they were in the monkhood, they do this kind of visualization practice, and because of they hear from certain senior monks, can see ghosts, can see devas, or want to see past lives, then they're so inspired to practice. So one of the monks I knew of, he practiced and became a bit mentally unstable, unable to differentiate what he perceived versus the real world. So he gets some social issues, social complications. Sometimes he like run around naked, or when he's traveling in a lorry, he just jump down and there's somebody or some being told him to jump down and he jump down. Or sometimes he walk in the forest, he heard some being call him, he walk in the forest, get lost, and need a search party to look for him. So lots of social issues. So eventually he disrobed. So that's one case study. The other case study is actually a monk, ex-monk who is mentally more sound. He developed this ability to see those spirits, and he eventually disrobed and became like a priest, a Taoist priest. Yeah? Probably because as a Buddhist monk, you cannot catch ghosts, but his inclination is to catch ghosts, to so-called solve people's haunting problems or whatever it is. So he changed profession, and so that's what happened, right? So if a person has no inclination for liberation, you end up doing some other stuff. So in the Buddhist community, or even the Thai tradition itself, the different teachers have different stance regarding to this psychic ability. So for example, those who are maybe pro psychic ability to see past lives and so on, maybe Ajahn Lee or Ajahn Man, or even like maybe Ajahn Brahm or the Pao Sayadaw system, you need to meditate and see your past life, right? So that is their system, their syllabus. Whereas there are certain teachers, let's say the Thai tradition, you have Ajahn Chah. So Ajahn Chah himself has this particular story where a disciple asked him a question. In meditation, this particular yogi claimed that he can see white light. So he asked Ajahn Chah, what does those lights mean? What does those lights mean? So Ajahn Chah took out his torchlight and shine on that person. He shine on that person. Yeah. So his torchlight also have light, right? So he doesn't give like a very theoretical kind of explanation, but it's more like, what do you reflect with the light? what does it mean? Right? Light is light, so what? Right? So he's not really interested in the light and the psychic stuff. And there's another monk, Long Pu Fung, Fung. He's another monk of Ajahn Thanisaro. So Ajahn Thanisaro has two teachers. One is Ajahn Lee, which is quite pro with this psychic ability, and Ajahn Long Pu Fung, which is quite cautious with regard to this stuff. So there's a story of him like having a retreat. So he has lots of people coming up to him to ask questions regarding meditation. Able to see lights in the meditation. So this particular Mechi, which is a female aid preceptor, who has been staying in his monastery for many years, was quite upset. I went up to look for this Long Pu Fung and asked him, "Dear Venerable Sir, I've been staying in your monastery for many years, but I never see any lights. But these yogis, these meditators that just have a short retreat only, stay for a few days or stay for 1 week, are able to see lights and stuff like that. Why is that so?" So this Long Pu Feng told this a preceptor, "You are so fortunate, you are so fortunate that you didn't see all these things, right? Those who are able to see all those things, I'm so worried for them. Because there might be a few possibilities. One is your own stray thoughts, your own mind conjures stray thoughts, and you follow them. Or if a person happen to develop this divine eye, they are unable to discern reality, our current reality from the unseen realm, then it creates lots of problem. So that's the issue. So again, different teachers have different stance. So personally, I don't really promote this also, but it is official meditation technique. So if you want to know, personally, my point of view, if you want to know whether you're suited for this particular meditation theme, which require you to visualize for a long time and see past life and stuff like that, is to first check your own internet search history. Check your own internet search history. Because if your habitual tendencies is to search for rubbish, then probably if you have this ability, the first thing is you'll be searching for rubbish. So you won't be able to gain much wisdom out of it. You see your past life, then you end up, my past life, where I hide my treasure, what's the password, that kind of stuff. So you'll be capoing lots of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to end my sharing due to the loud noise, and I open the ground to Q&A. Can you all hear the background sound?
Santi, I have a question.
Okay.
What do you mean by the single-mindedness of the mind? Are you actually referring to the one-pointedness?
Yes, it's the same thing, but different translators. So this one-pointedness is not where you focus your attention, It's basically the settling of the mental and craving fabrications. A person can be fixated at one point, maybe on the television or on the handphone, and watching entertainment. Their area of attention is one small area, so that is not one-pointedness of mind. No. It's got to do with reducing mental and craving fabrications.
Oh, okay.
So it will settle to a point of origin, the starting point. So we call this a single pointedness of mind.
So really have to go through the practice more often, then can feel it.
Okay, the background noise here is louder than the than your sound, so you need to speak louder. Huh?
Yeah. So Bante, which means that really have to put in a lot of practice, then you can reach the point of able to come down of your mind to achieve that level, right?
Yeah, you require more intentional good karma, intentional right thoughts to overcome the previously unskillful thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante.
Bante, there's a question here. Would that person be able to know that he has attained jhana, and how would he know? How would or he knows if he has attained jhana?
Okay, so personally, my point of view, only if a person learn from a teacher, because anybody can read, any scholar, any academician can read, then they do not know how to enter jhanas. Right? Scholar is one thing, the skill set, we call this oral transmission, passing down of the skill requires instructional and mentorship. Yeah. Any other questions or issues?
Okay, Bante, there's one question here. Is there any practice required to be able to see past life during the meditation?
Okay, so the past life practice, you need to first open up the divine eye. So mentioned here in the particular sutta, you need to do visualization the whole day. Yeah, do visualization exercise the whole day. So this one again require a good teacher to teach you how to see properly. If not, you imagine things, then you take it as real also. Huh? So nowadays, these in the field of maybe hypnotherapy, there's this thing called past life regression therapy. So nowadays, people in one session, they just lie down on the couch, relax, comfortable. Then these hypnotherapists can just do something and ask questions, and they're able to subconsciously recollect past lives already in one session. Whereas the Buddhist meditator will meditate for years and years and try to see past life, and sometimes can't even see past life. Huh? So this one require actually certain technique. So not every system has this kind of skill. Doesn't have this technique. It's more like ask you to visualize law. Then by chance, if you have means you have, you don't have means don't have. So nowadays it's like that only. Yeah.
Evening, Bante. Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Yeah. So when you mentioned about mindfulness, so in daily life, let's say to observe what we are feeling at a moment. For example, is it a good thought or unhappy thought? So how should we self-talk to ourselves? Let's say when a unfavorable thing happen, how should I be like in a way psychoing myself so that I do not create bad karma when something, let's say somebody scolds me. So to avoid, being, why did that person scold me and blah, 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 the story before it comes out, what should I be doing then?
Yeah, so very good question. So when we do our own kind of quiet sitting, formal sitting, it's basically learning to reprogram the mind to handle different kinds of sense contact, sense stimuli. You sit down there, pain, how do you handle, how do you tackle? Right? If you're able to handle unpleasant feelings and pleasant and unpleasant feelings with the equanimous mind, then it's the same concept. You use it to apply when when somebody scolds you, for example. It's the same concept. Right? So you see whether it works or if it doesn't work, then you need to go back to your R&D. Yeah. So basically, it's requires lots of right effort lah. That means every moment need to maintain this right thought, or
So
every
it's
moment
always,
generate right thought. Yeah.
right. So is it trying to see the good in a situation?
That could be one kind of reflection. There are many reflections, so you have to see which one you're more inclined to, more suitable for you, or it's good to know a multiple kind of tools so that different situation you can use the effective one.
Okay, because you did mention in the last session to just, when things happen, just think this is good karma ripening or this is not good karma ripening and then just move on. So it's like we are just a spectator and observing what's happening in a day. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, that could be one method. Yes.
Okay, Ken, thank
Okay,
you.
all right. No problem.
Bante, there's this question. If our past life very bad, how do we purify in the current life?
Just put in more effort, no choice. Yeah, generate more right thought, do more good deeds, observe your precepts well, yeah, do more volunteer charity work, meditate more, do more chanting, do everything. Yeah. Yep. Any other questions?
Okay. Bante, do we need to know our past life? Does it benefits? What's the benefits?
Yeah, so like mentioned in the sutta earlier, a person can get enlightened without seeing their past lives. Yeah, so depends on which route you're practicing. If let's say you are practicing a certain system which maybe let's say a person want to practice Bodhisattva path to become a Buddha. So yeah, somehow you need to know all this, but that is right before the Buddhahood. Then you can see all the past lives. In fact, if you are reborn in a certain heavenly state or even as in a pure land, then you can recall your past lives. You have all these born with certain physiology that can access these abilities already. So a person doesn't have to spend so many hours in our genetically inferior state to try to see the past life. Yeah. So depends on your strategy also. Yeah.
Bante, maybe I ask a question. When we encounter, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. When we encounter unpleasant situation, then we will try to be more positive. Then we would try to tell ourselves that, okay, like what Bante said is our bad karma ripening and things like that, or we tend to give excuses for the other party, or no, think of the good in a good way. So is this, sometimes I feel that are this self-deception like 自欺欺人 or just trying to pacify yourself, but actually the actual situation might be really very bad. So actually, how do we convince ourselves in this?
Yeah, you need to find your own moderation. You need to find your own moderation because there is the 世间法, the mundane kind of dharmas. You need to do certain thing to solve certain problem. If let's say uh, let's say your body is sick, you may need to see a doctor. So that is the circular way of solving things. Then you have the supra-mundane method, the spiritual way, which is to reflect, the body is impermanent, then you learn to detach, right? So does that mean you learn to detach and don't see the doctor? Does that mean you only do one and not the other?
No. So we
No,
need
right?
to do both.
A person still can see the doctor and still practice detachment, right? Whatever the outcome, you wait for the doctor, the queue very long, or whatever result, no, whether improve or don't improve, you still can, the mind still can accept it, right? So you need to find your own moderation, right? So you continue to solve the problem, not to the extent of chipping away and burning out. So you need to find your balance, lah. Yeah.
Okay. So we need to do both. Okay.
How about the physical audiences? Any questions? Any issues? Okay, then we just have to entertain the Zoom audience. Any issues?
Okay, but maybe I ask one more question. How do we find these jhana teachers to actually teach you on jhana, and how do we know that they are qualified jhana teachers?
Yeah, so that's a good point. Because nowadays there's so many systems, so many styles of meditation, so many teachers teaching different styles. So the one of the ways is to, once you practice, you have to see for yourself whether the symptoms you experience match with the suttas. So that's point number one, match with the suttas. And then you have to also see for yourself whether does it lead to this inner peace and contentment. Yeah, if it doesn't, then something is wrong lah. Yeah.
Okay, Bhante.
Hi, Bhante. So which means that we have to read up we have to study the Jhana Sutta.
As in, if a person practice and experience something, make sure it doesn't stray too far from what the scripture mentions. So that's the idea. Yeah.
But still we have to study the Sutta first, right? Before we go into the Jhana practice.
Yeah, it's good to have some theoretical right view. So in the process of learning, there's always to study, practice, and realize. So these are the three levels of learning. If a person just study only but don't practice, then they won't experience it. Right? So if a person just straight want to practice without knowing the theory, they might go Holland, may langgar all the wrong things. Yeah. They may try a lot of those new age kind of spiritism practices, and some of them may not be spiritual in nature. So like in the Thai spiritism, a lot of them end up maybe getting involved with Vicha. Vicha means like black magic and stuff like that. So which is not really the Buddhist path. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, Bante, there's one question. Hi, Bante, how do we know that our mindfulness practice is going through the right ways? Sign that something wrong, in bracket, and how to avoid burnout using Buddha's practices.
Yeah, so mindfulness, as in the previous few lessons, when we covered the Satipatthana Sutta, it talks about detachment. So if you can reflect on impermanence that lead you reducing clinging, reducing greed, and you feel more at peace, that means you're on the right track. So these are the few criteria. You need to observe whether you have any more distress, any more stress or distress, and whether is there any more greed or clinging. Yeah. So if it reduce, means you're on the right track. If let's say the more you practice, the more more tension, more stress, more craving, then something is wrong. Yeah. So like in one of the previous few sessions, I covered about this secular mindfulness. So there's a term, they call it Mac mindfulness. You heard of McDonald's, right? So there's the Westerners give a new term, Mac mindfulness. Because so many mindfulness workshop open, so they call it Mac mindfulness. So this kind of mindfulness, usually they just tell you, be aware, just know, be aware, be aware. But no reflection. They don't ask you to reflect on impermanence. They don't have positive qualities for you to reflect. They don't ask you to reflect on gratitude, on loving kindness. So it's like a bit like empty shell. It's just like observing. And some of them even go the opposite. They go towards the direction of sensuality. When you see something, must enjoy the sights. When you eat something, must enjoy the taste. So it becomes, instead of reducing greed, it make you more enjoy sensuality. So it goes the opposite direction. So you have to watch out, yeah.
Okay, Bante, the question here. Hi, Bante, may I know how do we protect ourselves from spirits? If during meditation we are disturbed by the spirits.
Okay, so spirits may come in different forms. Some of them may be good spirits, some of them may be not so good spirits. So the whole idea is for Buddhist meditation, if your mind is strong, you have merit, you have concentration, a person first and foremost won't get possessed. Yeah, won't get possessed by spirits. So that is number one point. Number two is that if you encounter any spirit, you're not sure, the first thing is have loving kindness. You wish all beings well and happy, you wish them well and happy. So that's like the first diplomacy protocol. First diplomacy protocol. Have loving kindness to all beings. And you make your intention clear, whichever place you go. Let's say you go to a new place, a new retreat center, or go to a hotel, or new house, whatever it is, you have to make your intention known. You'll be here for how many days? And you have to acknowledge that they are territorial. This is their territory. So you're not here to fight with them. You're not here to chase them away. So you're here to just mind your own business, and whatever merit that you have accumulated, please dedicate to them. Yeah, it's a bit like a protection fee, so it's a spiritual protection fee. So that is the standard protocol. Loving kindness, dedicate merits, and ask forgiveness. If whatever thing that unintentionally may offend them, you ask forgiveness. So three things.
Sharon, you want to ask your question?
Yes, yeah, great. Bhante, so just to carry on from there, how when you are so busy with so many things to do in a day, how do you avoid burnout using the practices of Buddha?
Yeah, so it's again similar to the one of the previous question is about finding your balance, finding your moderation. So the things you do, can you have enough right reflection to upkeep the expenditure? Whatever you plan and whatever you worry is spending energy, spending energy. And whenever you do right reflection, it's a bit like recharging the battery. So you need to find your own moderation. How much is too much? And do you really need to scale back? So you need to explore yourself.
Okay. Is there resources in like Buddha's teaching which I can read up on this?
Okay, so for a lay person, you can read up on maybe the Siga Lovada Sutta and also
Sigalova.
the Diga Jano Sutta. So these two are for like lay person. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Mante, there's one question. For mindfulness, this beside watching our breath, what other objects can we use as a basis?
Okay, so there are 84,000 Dhamma doors. There are many, many, many methods because whatever we perceive require the 5 aggregates. Yeah, so okay, so the more standard ones, let's say recollecting the Buddha's quality, like reciting the Buddha's qualities or the name. So that could be one. You can do it throughout the whole day. Things like the 4 sublime states, you wish all beings well and happy, have loving kindness. So that's another kind of meditation you can do the whole day. So these are like the more common few. Yeah. So only when the mind is neutral, when it's calm and objectively neutral, then it's easier to reflect on impermanence. Okay, any other question? Yes. Somebody sharing.
Yes, Jopin share. Thank you, Jopin.
So I do a short advertisement. And those who are interested in meditation, I'm starting 2 new meditation courses back to back. One is Thursdays evenings, starting from March at NDR. So you can register. I think you can go to the NDR Facebook page. I think they came out with a poster already. And the Friday evenings will be at Puming Si Temple. So you can go to the Puming Si page to look at the poster and register. So they are exactly the same. 2 organizations request me to do the same thing. So back to back. So Thursdays and Fridays, you can just choose to join one, or if you want to kiasu, you want to join both also can. Yeah.
No, Mante, they have to join the Friday one because Thursday is kept for Dhamma
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you want to disrupt the Dhamma Bats, then you join the Friday one. Yeah.
Monday, I have a question to ask you. Regards to those people who like to queue, like those fish market people, they like to queue. Then they will heard that the energy will go to their body. Then they get past and a few past years, they get sickness or whatever. Like people like those lady, the abortion. Then the child, the soul or the energy or the spirit go back to their mother wounds or get sick. You get what I mean? Something like that. Do you think what is your comment?
Yeah, so you talk about killing fishes. So at least in the Theravada scripture, there is a sutta that talks about karma. So the Buddha mentioned any kind of killing will reduce your lifespan. So yes, true. Yeah.
Okay, Bante, there's one question here. Hi, Bante. The more I practice, the less interested I am in the worldly stuff. I'm finding my work a chore now. Is it normal or can you advise? Thank you.
Okay, so most probably whatever that motivate you in your worldly stuff has to do with unwholesome craving. So if you reduce unwholesome craving, you'll be less interested. So if let's say the task you do is your obligation, you have certain responsibilities, then you need to re-look into your motivation. So you need to find a proper or more wholesome, a noble kind of intention to drive you to do your tasks. Yeah, so this is a bit more reflection. So that's why the mindfulness don't teach impermanence, because it make a person not interested. So they won't interested to make money for your company anymore, right? So they want their workers to be more hardworking, right? So yeah, you need to re-evaluate your intention. So that's the whole idea. Yeah.
Bante, next question. Why is it in Buddhism there is no soul concept?
Okay, I think I've answered this in the past few lessons. No soul is a direct translation, but the concept may not necessarily be no soul. So actually the Buddha avoid answering whether there is a soul or no soul. So there are 10 questions which the Buddha avoid answering. Whether the universe is eternal or not eternal, whether is it a finite, infinite, so on and so forth. So one of the few questions the Buddha avoid answering is whether there's a soul or no soul. Right? So the term anatta is actually a deduction kind of reflection, a deduction process. Whatever it is impermanent, whatever that causes stress, then that is not the true self. So that's the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, the discourse of non-self. So a lot of times, due to our defilement, our delusion, we assume that, for example, we may live forever, or we will be young forever, we will be healthy forever. So there's a sense of permanence there. So the sense of I, the ego, is very strong. So the contemplation of anatta is to reduce this ego. So that's the idea. It's not to discuss whether there's a soul or no soul. Yeah. Is there another question?
Yeah. How can we help someone who is afraid of being alone for fear of seeing spirits? The person has seen what seems to be like a spirit in the house and has been afraid ever since.
Okay, so earlier on I mentioned the 3 protocols. Have loving kindness towards them, making your intentions known, asking for forgiveness, dedication, merits. These are the few steps. But if let's say you are too frightened to do anything, you can calm the mind by reflecting the triple gems, recollecting on the triple gems. Think of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So keep on thinking of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha until the mind calm down. So hopefully that will help you follow on with the other protocols. Yeah.
Okay, one question, Bante. May I ask, what is Gandapa? What is Gandapa, and why is it needed to form a human body? Is it a soul? Is it a consciousness? Or is it a mind?
It is unseen entity. So the Buddha just mentioned the term Gandapa. So if sometimes one word may have many definitions. So Gandhaba is also a being that is found in the realm of the four heavenly kings. It's the heavenly realm. So that could be one possibility. But again, we are not speculating. You can use whatever term you want. You can call it consciousness, you can call it Gandhaba, you can call it a soul. But the idea in Buddhism is to detach from craving to existence. So whichever state or non-state a person may be, you need to reflect on impermanence. Yeah. Any other questions? They don't want to overstrain because too much background noise. Can you all hear the auctioning going on?
No,
Cannot.
we can
Oh,
hear your voice
amazing.
very clearly.
The auctioning louder than my sound.
Well, we can hear you
Actually, we
very
don't need to
clearly.
hear anything here. Yeah, I can't hear any auction that you mentioned from downstairs.
Monday, there's no more question in the chat box.
Okay, so if there's no questions, how do you all want to go about? Do you want to wait or end?
I think we can tonight's session. If there's
Okay.
no more questions.
So just a short announcement. This Saturday is Maga Puja. So Maga Puja is actually the Sangha Day. Sangha Day. So we know Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Buddha Day is the Vesak Day. Dhamma Day is the Asalha Puja. And we have this Maga Puja, which is the Sangha Day. So I think most Theravada temples will celebrate it this Saturday. Also just nice the end of Chinese New Year. So it's on the, this Saturday. So this Maga Puja is actually the to commemorate the gathering of 1,250 arahants. So these are the first batch of the Buddha's disciples personally ordained by the Buddha. And all of them reach enlightenment. And they gather without any announcement. Nobody give them any information. They just gather together like that. So it's a very special occasion. And Buddha sort of preached, or he uttered this Ovada Patimokkha. So probably the famous phrase you might hear, avoid evil, do good, purify the mind. Yeah. So this is one of the verses mentioned by the Buddha, because they are arahants anyway. They don't need to be lectured anything. It's more like a summary. The Buddha was very happy to see a lot of enlightened monks. So the Buddha just summarized the essence of the teachings to all the monks. So this is the Maga Puja, on this coming Saturday. So do look out, and if you want to join, can join in those celebration. Yeah.
Okay, someone asked, what time is it?
Yeah, you have to look out at the different temples' timing, their program. So for maybe Palilai temple is right after the evening chanting. So the evening chanting is at 6 p.m. So they'll probably start at 7.
Saturday evening, Bante.
Yes, Saturday evening. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe different temple have different timing. Maybe some places in the morning.
Until what time will it end? Huh?
Pardon?
What time will it end?
What time will it end? I have no idea.
Because following the chant, you have the circumambulation of the candle, right?
Yeah, so for Bali Light, there's normally a candlelight procession. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, on Saturday evening. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Saturday evening.
Okay. And someone asked, so at night got Dhamma discourse?
Probably yes. There is. Yeah.